Let's recap on what we've experienced together so far on this amazing cruise. If you've just found me here for the first time, then I'm Fraser. I'm currently cruising on board Cunard's beautiful Queen Elizabeth. I arrived here at the World Cruise Terminal in California, where I boarded the ship, and let me tell you, she is absolutely beautiful. A few hours after boarding, we pushed off from our berth at the terminal for what was going to be one of the most beautiful sunset sailaways I've seen in a long time. We sailed out against the Californian sunset, and a few days later we docked right here in Cabo San Lucas down in Mexico. I have visited here before on a cruise, but it was beautiful to be back and look at that beach. Anyway, after that it was back on board to head down to Punta Arenas, Costa Rica, which was a brand new country and therefore a brand new port for me. I found this crocodile-infested river. Yes, it really was crocodile-infested and they were wild. Before then putting on my big brave boy shoes and heading up into the hills and into the rainforest for a jungle walk. After that, it was time for the absolute peak of this cruise, which was the remarkable Panama Canal transit, where we transited all the way from the Pacific side through the whole canal and out to the Atlantic, which brings us to where we are now in Aruba. If you've just found me, make sure that you click subscribe under the video and join me on board Queen Elizabeth. Guys, welcome back and good morning from Cunard's Queen Elizabeth here in Aruba. Now, we've docked here for one day as part of this 14-night cruise from Los Angeles over to Florida through the Panama Canal. So in this video today, I am going to hopefully show you what your day could look like if you were planning to head over and cruise into Aruba. Now, join me out on the top deck in a few minutes and we'll walk through the plan for today. But first of all, let me give you a look around because the water here looks absolutely beautiful. So look, let's go out, have a look, and I'll see you out there. You might be thinking, you said there was a lot of water and it looked beautiful, but this just looks like any regular island. Well, let me turn the camera and show you what's out the other side of the ship. Look at the colour of that ocean. It is absolutely beautiful. Now, did you know that over 1 million people visit Aruba each year? So it's one of the most popular tourist destinations in this region. And that's about 10 times the population of the island. Aruba's slogan is "One Happy Island," and as you go about your day here, it's pretty clear to see that there is an absolutely huge amount of pride for what is an absolutely gorgeous place. The crime rate here is also incredibly low, which makes it one of the safest places in the Caribbean. And did you know that due to Aruba's location, it's far enough south that it is completely outside of the hurricane corridor, meaning that there isn't really a bad time to visit this sun-drenched island. Now, looking out from the back of the ship, you could see that the pilots were still attaching the ship onto the shore, and I couldn't help but think, what a beautiful place to work. Hopefully you guys can see from just having a quick look over each side of the ship, it's a pretty interesting setup today. So on the side behind me at the moment, it's crystal clear waters, bright blue, it's absolutely beautiful. And then there's a sort of really narrow sandbank that's sitting just opposite where the ship is really. So it must have been quite a narrow corridor to bring the ship in this morning. So sailaway might be quite nice this afternoon is what I'm thinking. Now on the other side, it's built up. It's way more built up than I was expecting. Now today we're docked in Aruba's capital, which we'll come back to, but I think there's going to be quite a lot to go and explore over that side today. Now, anyway, let's think about the plan for today, because obviously we're only here for one day. All aboard today is at 4:30 p.m. and it's currently 10 a.m. So we don't have a massive amount of time to get off and to see the island, but I am hoping to tick off 2 key places today. Now, number 1 is a place called Eagle Beach, which is, I think it's about a 15-minute taxi from here, so it might be walkable. Currently unsure because I don't have any data, so I can't check. But Eagle Beach is a beach which consistently scores within the top 5 beaches in the world. So it would be a crime to come here and not to visit a beach that's considered to be so good. So hopefully I'll be able to get up there, show you guys one of the best beaches that I and you have ever seen. And after that, I'm gonna head into the downtown area. So going back to my earlier point, we are docked this morning in Aruba's capital, which, I might pronounce this correctly, I might not, but Oranjestad, I think is how you pronounce it. But anyway, the capital of Aruba, which means that there is quite a built-up downtown area directly outside the port. Now, I've got a few ideas of where I'd like to go because I went to a port presentation on the ship actually a couple of days ago, and they recommended sort of 3 or 4 main streets to stick to. There's also apparently a streetcar that looks very like the San Francisco tram, if you've ever been there. And apparently it takes you round sort of 5 or 6 key parts of downtown so that you can tick it off quite quickly. So hopefully all going well, in this video, we're gonna head up, check out Eagle Beach, and then come back and experience downtown Oranjestad. So that's the plan. Whether or not it actually materializes, you're going to find out over this episode. So look, let's get off the ship, out of the shade, back into the sunshine, and go and explore the island of Aruba. Yes, every single one of my videos from this ship so far have featured that absolutely beautiful atrium, and no, I make no apology because I couldn't believe it every single time I'd walk past. It was amazing. Anyway, it was then time to head down the gangway and make landfall in another brand new place that I've never been before. Now, the first impression I had of Aruba, having just been told it was one of the happiest places ever, look at this free shuttle bus. It is so fun. Usually you get in a shuttle bus and it's like a little land train or something, but this is such a fun vibe. What a way to go from your ship over to the port gates. The only small issue, shall we say, is that there's no windows, so you do bake in these little buses, but it's still a really cool way to head into the town. Anyway, when you get to the port gates, just follow the sign for the exit to downtown, which will lead you straight out to here, a souvenir shopper's absolute haven. Whatever you want to buy that's branded Aruba, you could buy it here. Unfortunately, it didn't have the same stretch of merchandise that ridiculous place in Costa Rica had, but if you wanted hats, if you wanted bags, if you wanted toys, if you wanted waterproof pouches, all saying Aruba, you could do that here. Right beside that souvenir shop is where you'll find the main road. This is where you can flag down your taxis, you can get your Uber to pick you up, or you can jump in a bus. Luckily for me, I found this taxi having significant issues trying to close the door, which gave me enough time to flag it down and get inside. Now, it didn't take me long at all to head up to Eagle Beach, and once I was there, oh my goodness, what an absolute treat that I had in front of me. Let me leave you now to look at one of the most beautiful beaches I've ever seen in my life. Guys, honestly, can we just talk for a minute about the fact this place is real? Like, that water is the clearest water I have ever seen. And before you ask why I've not jumped in, it's purely because I'm wearing a microphone. But believe me, the minute I take this off, I am getting in this water because this place is honestly like a dream. Now, hopefully you've seen in the shots as well, it's pretty quiet here considering this is one of the best beaches in the world. You can get loungers, you can bring your own, or in my case, you can just get dropped off in a taxi and wander back to the cruise ship. So apparently it's about a 50-minute walk from here, which means we've got plenty of time to walk the full length of the beach, get downtown, and hopefully find somewhere down there to grab a coffee. So, honestly, let's go wander down this beach and see what else is down there. Okay, let's talk a little bit about this beach. Now, Eagle Beach in 2023 won the TripAdvisor Traveller's Choice Award for the best beach in the Caribbean and the second beach in the world. Now, Eagle Beach is also the widest beach in all of Aruba, and it's famous for, as you can see here, its completely pristine white sands. It is absolutely beautiful. Now, there's a few options for you if you do come to Eagle Beach. You could, first of all, book one of these loungers, which you can do just when you turn up like you can at any beach. Or you could check out one of the resorts. These resorts line the majority of the beachfront, and a lot of them are available to buy day passes. So if you would rather have a day by a swimming pool in a hotel, then you'd be able to do that here. However, from my point of view, I just took my towel off the ship and managed to make myself right at home in the sand here. It was absolutely amazing. Now, I would recommend walking back to the ship from Eagle Beach, which is exactly what I did, and just look at how much quieter it gets as you walk a little bit further down. It is absolutely beautiful. At points, you'll be unable to see any other people. Now, it is worth mentioning that although some of these resorts are open and available for day pass purchases, some of them are not. So make sure you check before you sit down. After walking for a short while, I then found somewhere that I was pretty comfortable to call home for about an hour or so before making my way back downtown. This area here is just halfway between Eagle Beach, where we got dropped off, and the cruise port. You'll find some nice little hotels, some nice little bistros and restaurants, and what I would say is that down this end of the beach, it feels nice, but it doesn't feel as luxurious and heinously expensive as what you would find at some of the other resorts. This one I thought was particularly good. You got the typical coastal wildlife. You had lizards absolutely everywhere. And to be honest, it wasn't luxurious, it wasn't fancy, but what more do you need when you've got a view of that water and a comfy chair? So I'm on my way back to the ship at the moment, and it's really not that far from here. So I left Eagle Beach probably about 20 minutes ago, and I reckon this is probably around about the halfway point. So what better way to celebrate than by grabbing a cocktail, more or less, on the beach. So I've found this little hotel that they welcome non-residents, and it's costing about $6 for a non-alcoholic cocktail. So that right now is going to fix my heat dilemma because it's pretty hot now. After here, I'm going to head along into downtown and check that out, but it's definitely worth saying that if you are planning to come here, factor into your day to pull into one of these resorts because they're lovely, they're right on the beach. You avoid paying the really high fees to lie on the beach on a lounger, but you get the luxury of being right here. So I'm probably going to just chill out here for the next hour, switch off from the world, and I'll see all of you downtown. So after relaxing on the beach for what felt like 5 minutes, but in reality it was about an hour and a half, it was time for me to head back towards downtown into the proximity of the cruise port. This is the walk that will take you from the beach all the way back to the ships. This is an alternative to walking along the beach, which would be on the right hand side here in front of these big hotels. And why not stop on your way back for a refreshing drink? Personally, I didn't because the queue was enormous, but definitely worth adding to your list if you are planning to visit here. Now, when you get downtown, it's going to be very, very obvious. It's when you hit all the shops, you'll hit all the restaurants, and you'll even hit this place. I didn't think Aruba was a big shopping mecca, but this place would suggest otherwise. Anyway, let me tell you more. Okay, I am now downtown, and before anybody thinks, oh hang on a minute, this vlog's getting weirdly upmarket, he's now at Gucci. Fear not, it's only because this shopping centre has Wi-Fi and I've managed to sit you down for a minute and grab a drink. Now, as you will know, if you were watching me in Mexico in my last series on Carnival Panorama, which if you didn't, I'll plug that now, head over to my channel and you'll find it on there. But if you were following me on there, you'll remember that I love Fanta Orange. I genuinely think it's the most refreshing thing that you could drink on a hot day. And I went into a shop there and have found, well, I said Fanta Orange and I got this. So now we are trying the Caribbean version of what I've been told is Fanta Orange, which is called Ray's Orange. If I fizz it all over me. Does it pass the test? Yes. Do you know what? Fanta, you need to be on the lookout because this is the second country now which has a version of you that tastes exactly the same. So anyway, look, let's go for a wander around downtown. Let me show you some of what's here. And yeah, then I'm just going to grab a coffee and probably head back onto the ship. So yeah, I'll probably see you in a Starbucks or some other horrendously chained coffee shop that I stumble upon. But look, let's go and have a look around downtown. If you're familiar with the history of Aruba as an island, you'll be aware that there's quite a heavy Dutch influence here. Now that certainly rings true with some of the architecture here. If you've been to Europe, then you will hopefully agree with me that these buildings could be in the centre of Bruges. It was amazing. Another key part of Aruba's history are horses. If you've never come across the history of Aruba's relation to horses, I'd recommend you give it a Google. It's really, really fascinating to see what went on here back in the day. Anyway, downtown from a cruiser perspective, how did I find it? I thought it was completely unspoiled, and the irony in the fact that so many tourists visit here, I just didn't think it felt like a tourist trap at all. That said, I didn't really think downtown had too much going on. Yes, the architecture was beautiful. Yes, you could go shopping, but it didn't really have the same draw as a lot of other places that I've been in the Caribbean before. However, look at the beaches that you've got. If you're visiting here on a ship, you don't really need to spend too much time here because the beaches are so remarkable. So I've just lucked out massively, guys, where I found Starbucks, which is just downstairs, and there was a random escalator that went up, and I thought, let's give that a go. Anyway, it turns out this is a Renaissance hotel, and you can get a coffee in here for $3 US. So, well, that's like £2.20 or something. So, perfect place to jump on the Wi-Fi, to be honest, get out the sun and recharge my phone before heading back over to the ship. So, for now, I am going to sit here, enjoy. I mean, it's not the fanciest of coffees, it's in a paper cup, but beggars can't be choosers, so I'm going to enjoy this coffee, and I'll see all of you when we get back over to the port and on to Queen Elizabeth. You may have heard of the Renaissance Hotel before due to the private island that they own just off the coast of Aruba. Make sure you're subscribed to my channel because on a future visit here, I'm hoping to visit the flamingos over there and show you what it's like to visit a private island. I mentioned earlier that there was a tram that ran downtown. These are the tracks right by the cruise port, but unfortunately it wasn't running during our port call. It was then time to head back through those port gates onto that really fun shuttle bus and then to get on board Queen Elizabeth. for what was going to be an absolutely gorgeous sail away. Let me stop talking now and let you enjoy the views as we sailed out of our first Caribbean port on this itinerary. And just like that, we are now back out at sea. So you can probably tell that it's got a good bit darker in the last, probably 20 minutes or so here. Believe it or not, the footage that you've just seen sailing out, that was only about 20 or 30 minutes ago. So it's amazing how quickly it changes here. Now, rather than talk you through the plan for tonight here, let's go downstairs, get changed, because it's probably worth us having a quick conversation about dress codes and things before heading out tonight. I guess to wrap up today though, that port has been absolutely excellent. I'm actually due to be back in Aruba later this year, I think, on another ship. So it'll be very interesting to see if when we re-enter the season for them, it gets a little bit busier, because there were parts today, whether it was on the beach or whether it was down at the shops, that the place felt deserted. And I actually noticed that there was, well, you saw it earlier yourself, there's quite a lot of shops and quite a lot of restaurants and things that had actually closed down. So very intrigued to see if later this year that changes and there's just a bit more life in the place. But anyway, look, let's move down from the top deck here and I'll catch up with all of you back down in the cabin when I am dressed a little bit more presentably, if that's actually a word, and ready to head back out for dinner. Okay, fast forward all of 30 minutes and I am back in the room and ready to head back out for dinner now. So what I wanted to talk to you about before going for dinner was the subject of dress codes, because if I'm honest, I was a little bit caught off guard with how formal some elements of this cruise experience is with Cunard. And I think if you are considering a Cunard cruise, it's really, really important that you know and you understand what you need to bring with you, I guess. Now, the element that I didn't misjudge, it's just because I'm doing so much cruising this year that I can't travel with 10 different smart outfits. Like, I need to be a little bit more creative, otherwise I'll just be formal every single night on a cruise ship. Now, what that meant for me is that the first couple of nights, which if you've seen my other episodes in this series, you probably have noticed where I was sort of wearing like open shirts with t-shirts underneath, or maybe shirts with the sleeves rolled up. And as I've gone through the last couple of weeks on board Queen Elizabeth, I've thought, I maybe feel a little bit casual on here. Now, the way it works is per cruise, we've got a number of formal nights. So on this cruise, we've got 3 designated formal nights, which I'll tell you about in a separate video all about dress codes in more detail. But every single other night is considered smart attire. Now, smart on here for a lady is usually in like dresses or dinner dresses kind of thing, whereas for guys, it's sort of what I would wear to work, which I would say is like chinos and a jacket, or like quite a lot of people are wearing like shirt and tie on here, which I just didn't expect. So even tonight, I will look quite casual compared to the majority of people on the ship. But does it bother me? No, like it really doesn't. I'm generally finding on this ship, I am maybe sticking out a little bit just because I'm a good bit younger anyway, so it really doesn't bother me if I look a little bit more casual. But if you are coming on Cunard, just do a little bit of planning around your wardrobe just to make sure that you're comfortable. But on this topic of dress codes, head over to my other video, because by the time this goes live, that'll be available on my channel, and that'll walk you through the different types of formal night, and also talk to you a little bit more openly about what you maybe can and also can't wear by Cunard's dress code policy. But anyway, look, enough of that for now, because we need to get back to having fun. Now, out and about around the ship tonight, if I grab the daily schedule here, which is a little bit folded and whatnot because it's been out with me today, but I'm going to head down for dinner. So I'm going to do dinner in the dining room. I haven't for a few nights. Now, I can't remember what you guys would have seen in my last episode, but in between then and now, I've had quite a lot of sea days, and to be honest, I didn't want to go to the dining room too much because number one, I don't want to gain any more weight because my clothes will be incredibly tight, and none of you need to see that. And number two, I just don't want to get bored of the dining room because it is really good. And last night I just wanted to go to the buffet, for example, to chill out. So yeah, tonight my return to the dining room, which I'm excited about. Now that rules out a fair bit of the entertainment that I could go to. Now, generally speaking, the entertainment on here, it's either you do dinner in a show or you do dinner in a couple of different musicians. I have found the entertainment on here to be lacking other than music, and it's not necessarily a bad thing, it's just factual. At night, there's not much else to do on this ship other than go to the show at 8 or 10 o'clock or go along and listen to a musician. They do have a really good entertainment team on here, and they do run every couple of nights. They'll do a game show, or they'll do like music bingo or something. But what I've found is that those game shows and those bingo sessions, they fill so quickly that you kind of feel as though you're left at the back of the room on a plastic chair sort of thing, because they've had to bring in more chairs for the show. So I think that probably says that what people want on here is more entertainment rather than just chilling out at a bar listening to live music. And that probably rings true to the fact that after the show at 10 o'clock, I feel as though the ship dies and people go to bed really early on here. Maybe due to the fact that they maybe want a little bit more entertainment. There was a married couples game show a few nights ago, and it was so busy. And that was a prime example where it was so busy to the point the garden lounge was completely full, and I ended up sitting on like a chair that they had brought in from somewhere else, but it was it was so uncomfortable. But yeah, so tonight I'm going to go to the dining room, followed by the show, which is 4 guys who are singing, but I can't show you because I'm not allowed to take any photos or record in there. So yeah, I'll do a voiceover and let you know how that is. And then probably after that, I will head up and just listen to the Ocean Drive Duo, which is like the live band on here. They are playing in the Commodore Club, which is on deck 10 at the front of the ship. So I'll probably just head up and listen to them. And then, to be honest, think about calling it a night, because there's not too much else to do. I mean, by the time I come out the show at 10 o'clock, the shops will be closed, everything will be beginning to wind down, so there's not really too much else to do. But look, let me show you a little bit of what it's like to be out and about around Queen Elizabeth at night, now that we're back on from Aruba. Okay, it's time to once again get out and about around this beautiful cruise ship. First up on my agenda, it was time to tackle all of the stairs because yes, I try to avoid using the elevator on a cruise because it helps me to work off all of the food that I'm eating, which is exactly what we're about to start talking about. Dinner for me tonight was back into the Britannia restaurant, which was the main included restaurant in a base Cunard cruise fare. Look at this dining room, it is absolutely gorgeous. I chose to dine on the upper level tonight, and let me show you the menu, because as you know, I quite like showing you this so that you can get a feel for if you were at dinner, what would you order? So feel free to pause the video here to check out the menu, and then who knows, maybe we'll end up picking exactly the same food. Now I opted for 3 courses tonight, which I know is pretty good and pretty well behaved of me. First up was the beef, which I have absolutely no complaints about, and it was lovely to get a Yorkshire pudding, followed by the fish. The only thing I would say is this came with carrot batons, plural. However, look at the tightest portion of carrot batons you've ever seen, and I then finished with caramelised apple tart. Yes, it had ice cream on the menu, but really, the only thing in my opinion to do is to ask for both. It makes it even better. Now, one thing that I did love about this cruise ship, and I thought I might have hated it, I loved how luxuriously quiet it felt. If you've watched my other videos from other cruise ships, you'll know that around the ship at night, it's generally pretty busy. But Cunard, it just felt so peaceful all the time. I'm excited to get on my next Cunard cruise ship to see if that's the same, or if that was just a bit unusual because of this itinerary. Now, I told you that I'd mention what the show was like. I did really enjoy it tonight. I got really good seats, and yeah, really good way to pass about an hour. And after that, it was time to finish the night in my favourite people watching venue on board this ship. That's right, the Queen's Room. I hope you've enjoyed this video today. If you have, like, subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video.